Thanks to the new trailer for Squid Game Season 3, I think we know all of the games that are going to be taking place. I'm about to break them all down, so let's get into it. The ultimate death game. So we need to forget about multiple small challenges happening one after another, the way that we're used to. All signs seem to point towards one massive death game that blends maze navigation, team combat, and brutal survival into a single deadly event to wrap up the show. Picture blood-stained maze corridors, a countdown clock ticking toward doom, and two sides marked in red and blue thrown into deadly conflict with no other way out. This is what the new season has in store for us, with each of the scenes in the trailer relating to the other within the match. At the heart of this lethal competition sits the giant gashapon machine, pretty much a big gumball dispenser. Players randomly draw either red or blue balls that lock them into sides without any choice involved. Pure chance decides who becomes a hunter and who becomes their prey. This mechanism forms the foundation for the entire confrontation that follows, making things viciously random and preventing planning ahead to beat the system. The teaser strongly suggests the red ball team and blue ball team aren't just opposing groups. They receive different objectives, different equipment, and likely different paths to victory. Red isn't just a color, it's an assignment to hunt. Blue isn't just a label, it's a desperate call to survive. And the clash of these two sides will be something both epic and heartbreaking. Red versus blue. From analyzing the slowed footage, we can clearly see red ball players wearing red vests and blue ball players wearing blue. Both sides get thrown into the maze, but they're not fighting on equal terms. The strongest evidence suggests the red team serves as hunters, since they receive knives, and their job seems to be tracking down and eliminating the blue players before time runs out. Meanwhile, the blue team gets keys instead of weapons, as we can see through this image of the crazy shaman. Their mission involves searching for safe rooms hidden throughout the maze, possibly looking for a refuge that requires their hunter to look elsewhere. Every second matters. Every wrong turn could be their last. The maze serves as a living, breathing trap. With its winding corridors, dead ends, and sealed doors, it's a death trap that makes every little movement a gamble. The blue team's survival depends on finding the right doors, quietly entering them, and avoiding a run-in with the red hunter seeking them out. Each safe room could mean victory, but every hallway might lead straight into a killer's grasp, at which point the only option is a 1v1 against a knife wielder, something we seem to see with Hyunju. More subtle clues in the teaser reinforce this structure. One clip reveals the shaman peeking through a keyhole, probably checking that the hunter isn't there before entering a safe room. This simple concept transforms the game into a brutal version of hide and seek, where even the safest places could hide danger. Blue players must find shelter, but any hesitation or mistake could cost them everything. If a blue player enters a room already occupied by a red player, they'll almost certainly face immediate death. If they wait too long, the ticking clock will seal their fate anyway. It's an impossible situation unless they move quickly, think faster, and completely trust their instincts. Twists inside the maze. There are indications this game won't be as straightforward as it first appears. Careful viewing shows that betrayals and personal vendettas will play just as big of a role as the brute force of the hunters. One shot captures Mousait, normally calm, completely consumed by rage, possibly turning against an ally in a moment of madness, or even taking his revenge against Namgyu after so long living in fear. In Squid Game, survival often depends less on someone's physical strength and more on their emotional regulation and self-control. The maze game might not just test players' fighting abilities, it can also push them to their psychological limits, forcing them to choose between loyalty and desperation, right and wrong, when one means death and the other right. In another heartbreaking scene, Jumja breaks down in the dormitory. Her son Young-sik, forced onto the opposing team, may have fallen victim to the maze. Her emotional collapse is already devastating, and we can't even see it in full yet, but it perfectly aligns with the ruthless narrative that Squid Game has always delivered to us. Some fans have compared the setup to the marble game from Season 1. Once again, players are paired or grouped up, forced to compete against those they might care about most in the world. But now the stakes are much higher. Entire teams face risk. Every decision has consequences beyond a single life. One thing that we do know for sure is that while the red team might initially have the advantage, their path to victory won't be an easy one. Desperation, rebellion, and sheer human willpower could flip the script entirely. If a blue player manages to escape and find sanctuary, they could survive. If a red player hesitates, doubts, or switches sides, they could lose their life thanks to the quick thinking moves of a desperate player in blue. In one theory gaining traction, players might not be strictly locked into kill or be killed roles. Secret mechanics like capturing instead of killing or finding hidden alliances might dramatically change outcomes, with some rumors spreading that players will form alliances only to be betrayed, similar to Ali and Sang-woo in Season 1's marble game. Hidden clues and secret symbols. One strange symbol appears in the ball selection room, a yellow knife-shaped icon and a yellow keyhole-shaped icon. These symbols match the items given to each team, foreshadowing their split missions. Photos released alongside the teaser reveal even more than that. The shaman lady clutches her key tightly while praying. Her desperation underscores how desperately the blue team clings to hope, and how vital finding those safe rooms truly is. Meanwhile, shots of players staggering through blood-slicked hallways and glimpses of bodies lying lifeless on the ground drive home that very few will make it out alive of this sickening game, whatever it may be. Despite overwhelming evidence of a brutal team versus team game, speculation continues about an even bigger twist hiding in plain sight. The random ball selection and initial team assignment might be only phase 1 of a series of matches. Players might eventually have to betray teammates, forcing final survivors to turn against one another. The timing of the piggy bank reveal supports this idea too. The classic giant glass ball filled with prize money appears again, just like in Season 1. Displaying the prize money before the final stretch serves one purpose: increasing pressure, pitting players against each other at the most crucial moment. Hidden games behind the maze. Looking closely, some scenes feel disconnected from the blood-stained maze setting. Different lighting, different costumes, even different moods. These shifts hint that Season 3 might be hiding secondary games beneath the surface, ones which build up to this final showdown. One dominant theory is that the maze game won't be a simple red team versus blue team elimination. Instead, it could evolve through multiple rounds or changing objectives. At first, the red players hunt the blue players through the maze, but later, the surviving blue players might be forced into a reverse challenge, a final phase where the hunters become the hunted and get revenge. Hints supporting this include shots of Gi-hun alone in corridors, suggesting players might get separated from their teams and forced to survive individually after the initial phase ends. If true, this structure would mirror the classic Squid Game formula. Start with teamwork, end with betrayal. Some other theories suggest that after the maze phase, surviving players could be paired off across team colors, red versus blue, one survivor per match. Instead of traditional marbles, this time the players might face direct physical challenges, fights, riddles, or even mental contests. It would be the ultimate test of loyalty and cruelty, especially since bonds would have already formed during the earlier team survival phase. The final nightmare unfolds. Comments online and rumors of leaks have put forward the idea that a futuristic laser tag style game could be coming too. It probably won't be literal laser tag, but the idea is that later rounds could introduce non-traditional weapons or capture mechanics. Instead of killing instantly, players could be tagged and trapped, awaiting either rescue or execution, depending on team strategies. This setup would massively increase tension, forcing players to decide between saving allies or saving themselves. But of course, the title of the show is Squid Game, and it seems almost certain that at some point, the final players will be forced to play the actual Squid Game again. But this time, it won't just be a simple 1v1. The Squid Game might be reinvented on a massive, brutal scale, possibly involving surviving players from both teams who need to face off against each other in a huge free-for-all. At that point, tradition could take over. Squid Game, but deadlier, bloodier, and with the entire organization watching for the ultimate payoff. Another subtle theme buried in the teaser is the repeated emphasis on voting. Players in the dormitory are seen standing together, indicating that trust, decision-making, and group psychology are still major weapons this season, as possible votes continue to take place between games. One theory is that after the maze games, players could be forced into traps fueled by manipulation, voting to eliminate others, voting to spare themselves, deciding whether to restart the game or face immediate execution. This would add layers of mind games to the already physical horror of the maze, forcing players to betray each other on every level. Taken together, the hidden hints suggest a brutal structure for Season 3. First, a massive maze-based hide-and-seek survival challenge, red versus blue, hunters and hunted, blood and betrayal. Then, a narrowing down through brutal 1v1 combats, trust-breaking votes, or hidden minigames. And finally, a climactic final showdown, possibly a new version of the Squid Game itself, or possibly something even worse. Season 3 won't just be about physical survival. It will test the player's loyalty, trust, intelligence, and humanity at every step of the game. No player will escape unchanged. And when the dust finally settles, the real question won't be who survives, but instead, whether anything good can survive inside a world built entirely on cruelty. So, what do you think of our theories? Will there be one big game or a series of smaller ones like we're used to? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, drop it a like, and if you want to see more Squid Game content and theories, click the video on screen now.